Okay, so Nira and I are up here on Putney Mountain, and we thought we knew we were going to come up here, and we thought we'd bring you along. I don't have a whole lot to say. There are a couple of things I botched a little bit earlier. One of the things I did is I forgot to talk about the connection between mass and energy, which we talked about at length in the class, and the idea Einstein about 110 years ago, 115 years ago almost really, came up with the idea E equals mc squared, right? Meaning that energy and matter are the same thing, except that matter gets multiplied by the speed of light, right? So we had some kids like Eben figure out that basically was Einstein telling us that matter and energy are different forms of the same stuff, and that you can get a little bit of matter to transform into a huge amount of energy. I forgot to tell you that. The other thing, I felt like I was a little unclear about the branch that I was trying to force leaves on. And it's one of the things I want to do is encourage you to do that, and I'll give you extra credit if you do. I'll talk about grades in a little bit, but I'm going to give you sort of challenge and extra things for the kids who want to get an A or a B. If you just do all the written stuff and you do a pretty good job on it, you'll get a C or maybe a B. But if you want to get an A, you're going to have to work harder than that and challenge yourself more than that. And I'll be more clear about that as it reveals itself to me what I'm talking about, which, as you know, often happens about the same time that I think about it. So anyhow, here we are on Putney Mountain. I'm going to give you a quick look around. I'll turn here so I can see the viewfinder. And I think for bang for the buck, I think Putney Mountain is probably the most beautiful walk. You can see Mount Monadnock off that direction. You can see Nira here. Hey, Nira. Want to say hi? She thought you were going to give her a treat, but that's not going to happen. Okay, so what we're looking at here, it's a little bit hard to see, but this is that's Stratton. You might be able to see the trails. It's a big mountain sort of off there. It's kind of flat on top with a shoulder on the right, a shoulder on the left. And then we got Mount Snow is a peak sort of behind there. You can see the trails on that. So there's a ridge in front of it, but it's sort of the high peak behind that, and you can make out the trails. Familiar territory for Connor, huh? Who's maybe on track to be the next most famous athlete to go out of Brattleboro or BAMS. And Connor, I was just thinking about you today, and that you're not going to be able to compete out at Copper Mountain probably, and that's a lost opportunity. I feel for you. I know you must work really, really hard. One of the things I noticed about you, Connor, happened of all places at the volleyball game, and it brought back a memory. It was probably in like 5th or 6th grade, and I snuck into Boston and watched a guy play for UMass, a guy named Julius Irving. And I was in the Boston Garden, and I was sitting down pretty close to the floor, almost right on the floor, and man, that guy took off and went airborne. I'd never seen anything like it. He was in the air and still doing stuff. Like, not, it was just, most people, do a little jump and then they're back down, but he looked like he had about 3 different options. And watching you play in the volleyball game, I say at launch, it was the same kind of power and comfort being airborne. I just thought I'd mention that. You've come a long way, and I really appreciate that, and I miss the opportunity to watch for more. I know Nora said great things about you when you were coming out of Dover. It was a little hard to believe. You're much easier to love as an 8th grader than you were as a 7th grader. And, you know, also I really appreciated one day when somebody talked about playing on a football team, and, you know, you and I and he all knew that wasn't really true. And I could see you ready to shoot him down, and you just let it go. And so that kindness is something that I appreciate. And speaking of kids, when I was on my way up here, and it's the wind chill. I mean, it's low temperature here, and we got wind coming out of the north, right? So up to the north, the air molecules are low temperature and tightly packed, and man, any warm air that's here is just getting kicked out of the way as we get this cold air from the north. I'm looking, there's a huge bird soaring, looking for a white head and tail, thinking it might be a bald eagle. But so anyhow, the low temperature air is winning the collision game big time, and that's the cold air that's going to be settled over us when the next storm rolls in, and that's why they're thinking that we might get snow. Because what will happen is the cold air is settled here. That's why we have this beautiful blue sky and everything. And then the higher temperature air and moister air is going to come and collide with it, but it's going to lose. And so it's going to go up above this mass of low temperature air. And so any precipitation will fall through the low temperature air, and there's a chance it will get a good measure of snow. But anyhow, what I was thinking of is when I was walking up here, there were 2 people jogging or running. They were going a little fast to call it jogging. I don't want to insult them, but at first I thought it was a couple of kids from my advisory. It was a boy and a girl, or a young man and a young woman, past high school age probably, but I couldn't tell that at first. But I thought it was Kobe and Priya, because what kind of young woman would be running up here except one that has found the fitness thing, and the guy was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and the wind chill's like 20 degrees, so it was easy to make that mistake. Anyhow, what else did I want to say up here? I wrote myself some notes of things that I forgot, and I talked about E equals MC squared. I talked about just the view, and here we are. And I guess I'll talk a little bit about what's coming up for us as Team Draco, because it's certainly not what we planned or hoped for this spring. This is my favorite series of units, and I thought that I was going to have a captive audience, but I will expect every day. What they've told us is to expect you to do about 45 minutes of work in each of the core classes every day. And so what I'm going to do is try to go through the same content that I would have. It's going to be really hard for some of you to do everything that I have in mind. So I'm going to have like 2 levels. There will be the stuff that I expect everyone to do, and that will be possible for all of you. And then I'll try to provide a level of challenge for the kids who we need more than ever to save the world, and to learn to play with the sharp pencil. So every day I will try to have a little bit of a video. I'm just learning how to use this video camera. I bought it last year so you guys could film your presentations, and I turned it over to some capable students, and never learned how to use it, so I'm kind of making it up as we go along. I've also never talked in front of a camera much. So you'll get a good measure of this, and I'll give you some reading stuff that I've generated in the past and some stuff I'll be writing. And I just ordered a scanner today that I can use for any drawings I make or graphics or anything like that. So anyhow, let me look at my list here and see if I've covered everything. Can't read it without my glasses on. Anyhow, I miss you guys. And I, apologize. This is a pretty big weakness of mine, having to use technology as pretty much the only way that I can communicate with you. But hopefully I'll figure something out. And I even hope more than that it won't be as long as they're predicting before we're all together again. Okay, so I'll give you one more look at the... Oh, here we go. How long till sunset? Can you... let me see if I can get you lined up here. It's about, what would you say, 3/4 of a fist is what I get. So to me, that means it's about 45 minutes till it's going to get dark. So Nira and I have plenty of time to get... you're backlit here. I'm backlit here. We got plenty of time to get down to the parking lot. Oh, you know what? Actually, there's one last thing I want to talk about, and that is the sunrise and sunset. So you can see Mount Monadnock over there, and Mount Monadnock, right now, let's see, the sun is rising a little bit to the left. And so the sun now goes from Mount Monadnock, then you can see where it's gonna, you can see it's on track to set down there, way to the south, that's south of Stratton, and that will change in the summer. And in the summer, the sun will rise much more about that direction. It'll go up higher, and it will set over or even north of Stratton. So we'll end up with more daylight hours. I know I wrote something about the equinox. Try to make a little bit of sense out of that. So, Nira, you have anything you want to say? Feed me. Okay. I know what else I wanted to talk to you about a little bit. So, I'm sure that I'm not positive actually, but I have to have surgery to have my defibrillator replaced. It's a pretty bad time to be going into a hospital and occupying doctors and stuff, but they've, to this point anyhow, they're saying that that it's still on the calendar, and so I'll go in for surgery, and that will be Thursday. My plan is that you'll be watching this Monday. It's actually Saturday right now, but this is for Monday, and then Tuesday I have to go up for blood tests. Wednesday I'll be back for office hours, so I'll do office hours Monday, that's today I guess for you guys now, and then I'll do them again on Wednesday, and then definitely not Thursday, because I'll be in the operating room during office hours, and then I don't know, I can't, I think probably I'm not going to be able to do it on Friday, but I'll shoot for next Monday. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. I hope you're doing well. I miss you guys a lot. Bye.